The Haunting in Ponyville by Jasonthehuman. Chapter 4. Stress. The sweet smell of caramel was already beginning to waft through the house. There was a full bushel of apples waiting, fresh from 3 apple acres. Bonbon had picked them up earlier today, making a trade-off. Applejack's candy order for the bushel, at a slightly reduced price. Caramel apples were a nice change of pace. They were fairly easy to manage. The most difficult part would be making the caramel itself. Most boys didn't appreciate the difficulty of having just the right amount of sugar and water, giving it that smooth texture, and letting it heat for just the right amount of time. Not to mention avoiding making a mess and getting nasty burns throughout the whole process. Bonbon never forgot when she was a filly, always starting to learn how to make candy. That patch of hair that got covered in hot caramel had taken weeks to grow back. Looking back now, she could laugh, but it had been humiliating at the time. Bonbon crouched down to check the cabinet. She would need a pot to mix the caramel. Trace some out after dipping. There were wooden sticks she had brought earlier for the apples. She began to dig through the cabinet when she heard something rattling above her. She slowly looked at her head. One of the handles in the knife block had started to shake its way out. The blade began to shine out with a metallic scraping sound. She watched in stunned silence as the full 6 inches of the blade were revealed, glinted in the light. Slowly, the knife turned itself in the air. The tip of the blade directed itself towards her and moved forwards. Bonbon screamed and dropped to the ground, hose over her head. "Whoa! Careful there!" Lyra said. Bonbon opened her eyes, looked up. The knife crossed the room and settled down onto the kitchen table. Lyra's horn glowed again as she lifted up a perfectly round pumpkin off the floor, landing with a thud in front of her. "Wanna warn me before you do something like that?" Bonbon gasped. Something like what? Lyra was too distracted by the pumpkin. She circled around it, stopping and squinting occasionally, taking it in from all angles. Raising the knife, she paused and turned around. "It's fine with you if I use the table, right?" Fine, Bonbon said. Lyra was about to stab into the top of the pumpkin, but Bonbon quickly added, "Put down some newspaper or something before you make a mess." "Oh, right, sorry," Lyra said. The knife floated back to the table, and she trotted out the room. Bonbon picked the pot off the floor and let it sit in the sink. She ran the water. She took an uneasy glance at the knife block. 5 wooden handles still jutting out. It didn't move. She shook her head and shut the water off. Lyra might be reckless, delusional, and completely ignorant of the danger they were in, but it would be nice to have somebody else in the kitchen for a while. Most mornings, Lyra was still going out to the park to practice her music, like she always did. The house would be completely empty and quiet. Bonbon would feel utterly alone, cut off from the rest of the world, trapped in a strange place, outside the regular flow of time, where the minutes dragged into hours. She really was going crazy as she let herself have such melodramatic thoughts. The past few days she felt a combination of irritation, anxiety, and, well, yes, a little fear perhaps. It just left her feeling drained. Things only seemed to get worse. The fire in the living room barely seemed to keep away from the unnatural cold anymore. Lyra burst into the kitchen. "Bonbon, you need to see this!" The moment Bonbon turned her head, a newspaper was stretched to her face. She pressed it away with one huff. "What is it?" As soon as she saw it, the grainy photograph on the front page was instantly recognizable. She could hardly believe what she was saying. "That reporter actually put our upstairs bathroom onto the front page of the paper," she said. "What in the name of—" "No, look closer," Lyra insisted. The paper floated down closer to Bonbon's face again. That's when she saw what had Lyra so excited. There was a hazy, light-colored smudge that she had initially taken for the glare on the lens. On a closer inspection, it looked like a figure. The reports were distorted, but the more you looked at it, the harder it was to deny. There was a head, thrown back, rolled about his front legs, the front hose extended. Bonbon noticed the caption beneath. Could this be the evil spirit plaguing 2 Ponyville residents? Reporters could find no explanation as to what caused this anomaly. Before she could read the main feature, the paper flew across the little kitchen over to Lyra. "Film reel actually got a picture of our ghost!" Lyra said, starting to pace back and forth. It was difficult to tell if she was jealous or thrilled, maybe both. How was she able to get a picture if we couldn't? Well, I guess she's a professional photographer. Maybe she just knows how to take a better picture than you do. Bonbon sighed. She probably did something to it. Created a double exposure or something. She didn't strike me as the most trustworthy reporter, you know. But still... Lyra hung her head for a moment, turned her attention back to her pumpkin. She set the front page aside and spread out the rest of the paper. I want to figure out how to make real contact with him. Good. If you figure out how, tell him to leave me alone, Bonbon said. She returned to her work, measuring out several cups of sugar. Lyra stood up on her fat closed scale and looked at the top of the pumpkin. She raised the knife and plunged it in all the way up to the hilt. Are you just a little curious? No. The knife yanked itself out. It floated by Lyra's side, sticky orange muck coating the blade. She sunk it back in and began sawing a circle around the stem. I just don't get it, Bonbon. He came from beyond the grave, beyond our mortal plane entirely, just to hang out with us for Nightmare Night. Don't you even want to meet him? Are you even listening to yourself? Bonbon lifted her eyebrow. I'm just saying there's no point in getting stressed over it, Lyra said. She began shoveling a stringy glob of orange out of the hole she carved. It's Nightmare Night. Stuff like this is supposed to be fun. Bonbon gritted her teeth. Do you even realize what it's been like for me? She said. I've had to cancel so many orders because I won't even get started on them. I'm always tired, but I can hardly sleep at night, and every pony in town is talking behind my back, and most of it is complete lies! Once she was finished, she stood there breathing. Lyra stopped carving and stared at her. But, the ghost hasn't really done that much. Bonbon let out a deep breath. I know, not nearly as much as Pony thinks, anyway. I suppose we should be grateful for that. Exactly. It's all just for fun, Lyra said. She went back to her work on the pumpkin, shoving the knife in front and carving out eye holes. They both went to work silently for a while. Bonbon had measured out just a little bit of wire to add to the sugar. Not so much that she would get runny, but just enough to give it the right texture. Lyra stepped back from her pumpkin and stared at it, tapping her lower lip with the knife. She grinned and turned it around to show Bonbon. So, what do you think? The carving job was crude, and obviously rust. Lyra was far from a perfectionist. The pumpkin had a simple, toothy grin and triangular eyes. The roundness of pumpkins always made the face look deformed. In Bonbon's opinion, the mouth and nose were flat, and nothing like a pony's head at all. It's great, Lyra. You think so? She turned it back around to get a second look. I should probably get this on the porch before... Wait, what time is it? Her head turned back to the hallway. Then she frowned. I need to get over to Rarity's. She said she would be putting on finishing touches on my costume now. The pumpkin floated off the table, and Lyra galloped out of the room, swerving the pumpkin around the doorway, through the front hall. Bonbon heard the front door swing open and close. She was alone again. There was caramel browning on the stovetop, and a dozen apples sitting on the cover, waiting to be dipped whenever it was ready. She was nearly finished, though it meant she would have to move on to making something else. Still, progress was satisfying, and Rarity's days. By the looks of things, it would only be a few minutes before the caramel was ready. Best to leave it while it was browning. Only a novice would stir it. Outside the window, Lyra watched drowned bright leaves scattering down the wind, and a couple of foals playing in the street. They kicked the ball back and forth. One of them pointed at the house, said something that Bonbon couldn't catch. They both laughed and continued their game. Even with the faint sound of the stove burning and muffled yells and laughter from outside, everything was far too quiet. What was it? Lyra had left, but there was more to it than that. She realized what was missing. The clock. Without those chimes, the day was just feeling endless. Normally, she would hear it chiming every half hour, keep chime, but now it had gone dead. Bonbon walked down the hallway and looked up at it. The crack in the glass caught the reflection of light. It still stuck at the same time it had stopped earlier. This clock was an antique, so she wouldn't even try to fix it. Probably just take it over to the repair shop as soon as she got the chance. First the pictures on the stairs, then the clock. Bonbon thought her own sanity was the only thing left to break. She was staring at it when she felt a hoof rest on her shoulder. Bonbon, I think something's burning. It was like Lyra had disappeared out of nowhere, but Bonbon was more concerned with the stench that suddenly hit her nostrils. Nothing could stand in her panic like it smelled smoke and burnt sugar coming from the kitchen. She galloped into the kitchen and saw smoke rising from the stove. She flipped the dials off, then stared down the crispy black mess caked in the bottom of the pot. Lyra went to walk to the kitchen. Bonbon, what happened? She said quietly. You're usually more careful than that. This couldn't have happened that quickly, Bonbon said, shaking her head. I wasn't gone for more than 30 seconds, she turned towards Lyra. Were you going to see Rarity? I already did. I just got back. Your candy was burning. You were just standing out there staring at that clock, Lyra said. A little creepy, honestly. She didn't come any closer. She simply stood in the doorway on the other side of the kitchen. Bonbon slipped on some oven mitts. She took off the pot to the stove and put it into the sink. filling it with water and leaving it to soak for a while. Hopefully she'd be able to scrape it all out, and the pot wouldn't be ruined forever. Last thing that needed. What had happened, though? I don't think I could deal with this anymore, Bonbon muttered. How long were you out? Lyra tilted her head. About an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Bonbon felt woozy. She stared out the window. Those fillies from earlier were gone. The empty street was bathed in the orange light of an early sunset. Her stomach had turned. She knew as she spent another moment inside, she was really going to be sick. Do you want me to help you clean up? Iris said, taking a few hesitant steps forward. Bonbon took a moment to respond. Yes, she said finally. I need to step out for a while. The smoke's getting to me. All right, then. Lyra eyed her as she walked by. Bonbon was nearly out the door when she noticed a stack of boxes sitting on the edge of the corner. A few orders she had managed to complete, waiting to be delivered. From the ponies who planned far enough in advance when they were making their candy orders. She thought about it for a second, then loaded one of the boxes into a saddlebag. Bonbon probably wouldn't find a better excuse to head over and talk to her again. It was unusually warm for an evening in autumn. The fresh air was helping Bonbon clear her head somewhat, but the more she thought about it, exactly what had happened, the more disturbing it seemed. She hadn't left the room for more than a minute. She was absolutely sure of that. Her thoughts were interrupted when the door was finally answered. Oh, hello, Bonbon. Twilight stepped aside and let her in. Is that my order? I was wondering when I would hear back from you. Bonbon stepped to the well-lit room, set her saddlebags down as she was in the door. It's been hectic, she said. I hope I can manage to get the rest of the orders done. I'm actually taking care of deliveries long before this. It's no problem at all, Twilight said. Bonbon simply nodded and started unpacking the boxes of candy, setting them on the table in the center of the room. Twilight watched her for a while without saying a word. You know, I've been studying the history of Nightmare Night recently. It's amazing, Twilight said. It goes back to a long time. Originally, it was to commemorate the time of the year when the princesses would allow longer nights. But the modern traditions of monsters and ghosts weren't added until... Twilight, I've never been fond of this holiday. Perhaps even less than usual this year, Bonbon said. I believe you know why. You're still not letting Lyra talk you to these ghost stories, are you? Twilight smiled. We already told you. We're not making these up. There was something strange going on. It's true! I was in the paper today, Piggy Pie said. What was fun and interruption? Piggy bouncing across the library to meet them. You got a picture! There's a real ghost there! Pinky, how did you get in here? Twilight said, glancing around wildly. You read the newspaper, Bonbon said. Piggy's eyes seemed to pop out of her head. I read all about you guys. All the stuff about hearing ponies walking around when they're wearing your ponies there, things flying off the walls on their own, those voices. There were never any voices, Pinky. And I realized you got some seriously spooky stuff going on. This is the real deal, Pinky finished. Twilight laughed and shook her head. I can't believe so many ponies are falling for this. Do you think every pony would be so quick to jump to those conclusions at any other time of the year? You don't understand, Twilight. There's some things that even super smart ponies like you can't explain. Twilight, things are starting to seem downright dangerous. I would never fall for this sort of nonsense. There's really something there. Today I was just... I don't know how to explain it, but... That's why I tried to warn you, Piggy said. About what? Not to get scared. While you were saying... Piggy shook her head. Just because you got a haunted house and ghosts and everything doesn't mean you should be scared, silly. It just makes everything even worse. See, seems a point. You seem to be getting stressed out, Bonbon. Twilight said. She trotted across the room and started scanning the shelves. You should try to take it easy. I still say that haunted houses and evil ghosts aren't real. I even have a book that said... She stopped on a section and looked for a few moments and frowned. I thought I had it, or did I lend it out? You do have a book about ghosts? Bonbon said. She went over to Twilight's side. I thought I might ask you, what are they? No, I don't keep that many books about that kind of thing, Twilight said. I think I must have lent out my other one earlier. Really? I was going to ask if you had any good ghost stories, Bonbon frowned. Thinking frowned. Reading about Bonbon's house really got me in the mood for some. Oh well. She skipped out of the room, humming to herself. Bonbon watched her leave as suddenly she had disappeared. Then she turned to look back at Twilight. Please, whatever going on here, a ghost or whatever it is, can't you just take a look at it? And, more importantly, find out how to stop it? Twilight bit her lip. I like to. I like to prove what's happening here, but nothing I can explain. But I'm running behind the preparations. You're running behind? Because of preparations, of course. I got so caught up in studying the history of Nightmare Night, I completely forgot to look into the details about Light Charmer. I'm going to dress up as her this year. Bonbon tilted her head. Who? Twilight let out a sigh. Ponies are so ignorant of the history of magic. That's why I need to take extra care to ensure my costume is 100% accurate. No pony would be able to tell, Bonbon muttered. Sorry, Bonbon, just can't help you now. I'll check my schedule for an opportunity, though, Twilight said, smiling. Just remember, there are no such things as ghosts. Bonbon couldn't pursue her any further, so he thanked Twilight for her business and started on her way back home. Pink and I were already starting to move dark clouds into the sky by the time Bonbon left Twilight's library. Brown and orange leaves swirled and spiraled through the empty streets. Don't get scared. That was the only advice Pinkie and Twilight had for her. I was supposed to not get scared when the ghost could have burned down her house today. And now who knew she could be coming next? As he passed by a stallion reading a newspaper on the way back, he tuned across to the story to notice her. There was a picture on the cover. Bonbon couldn't believe that every pony in town had found a picture of their bathroom on the steps this morning. But it wasn't even hard to believe that hazy materializing next to the bathtub really was there. Lyra Bonbon quickened her pace before the stallion had a chance to realize who she was. Turned the corner on her street as a few scattered raindrops started to fall. Lyra was standing in the front windows when Bonbon arrived home. Looks like it could rain. Oh, really? Bonbon said. Yeah, we haven't had a good storm in a while, but this one will be really big. She craned her neck, trying to look up in the sky. How much did you get done with the kitchen? What's left to clean up? Don't worry, it was tough, but I took care of all of it, Lyra said. She turned away from the window. Rubbed her chin. I know you've been stressed today. I forgot to tell you earlier, though. I've got good news. Bonbon scowled. I'm not sure I trust anything you're calling good news, but go on. I was on the way to Rarities earlier today, and I was talking to some ponies. They're professional investigators. They're still to come over in a few days and figure out what's going on here. You what? Bonbon blinked at her. What do you mean, professional? It sounds dervious when you apply to something like ghosts. They're expertly ghosts on hauntings in Ponyville. They're going to figure out what's going on here. I was asking Twilight to help, but she's still not convinced. Who else is there? Lyra found. I don't think Twilight would ever be convinced we have a ghost. These ponies know what they're doing. Trust me. And they'll get rid of it. Well, Lyra tried to word out. Maybe. I wouldn't make any guarantees. Bonbon could hardly believe it. You're serious about this? Where did you find them? Wasn't hard, Lyra said. She immediately changed the subject. Hey, tonight's gonna be awesome, though. Do you think ghosts like it more when it storms, or is that just campfire stuff? If you had asked me a month ago, I would have told you it was all stories. Bonbon let a yawn. I'm going upstairs to get some sleep. It didn't last long. Bonbon was awoken by an ear-splitting crack of thunder. She sat up straight into bed and glanced over the room and fell back down, making a mental note to lodge a complaint with Rainbow Dash in the morning for this utterly tasteless weather. Over the patter of the rain in the window, she could hear another sound. Soft music and a slow, mournful melody. Lyra must be up too. What all this thunder the entire town must be? The room was lit up by a flash of lightning for a moment. Bonbon rolled over her bed, trying to get back to sleep. She had to. She could just ignore the weather, maybe. Another flash of light, but this time she saw something. It was only a glimpse. A vague black silhouette in the doorway. First she shook her head for Lyra, but it couldn't have been. The mane was too long. There didn't seem to be a horn. That was hard to tell. The iron music from down the hall hadn't stopped. Bonbon sat up again and reached over to turn the lamp. Light filled the room, and no pony was there.